Hi everyone, welcome back to another sewing vlog. Today the goal is a little black dress, and I have a holiday party coming up next weekend that I have nothing to wear to. And instead of going out Black Friday shopping like a normal person over the weekend, I decided to go to the fabric store. So I got 2.5 yards of this lightweight suede type fabric. I'm not really sure exactly what it is. I really should do a better job of remembering what kind of fabrics I buy, but I usually categorize them as stretchy or not stretchy, and then there's this weird middle ground.
That's the fabric?
Anyways, we are going for a wrap dress kind of look. I'll be honest with you, not a lot of planning has gone into this, and I think I'm starting to panic a little bit. I'm gonna use this dress as a template for my pattern, and we'll see how that goes. So I started this project by creating a pattern from the floral dress that I already owned. I laid out my trusted brown builder's paper and got to drawing. Since this dress was stretchy with an elastic waistband, I made sure to stretch out the fabric at the waist as I drew my pattern. The fabric I'm using to make my new black dress isn't very stretchy, so this is a very important step. You can see my cat in the window. He is literally just staring at a patio wall. There's nothing out there, and there's nothing going on in his brain. I created a pattern for the top half of my dress and the sleeves, and then I used a half circle skirt pattern for the bottom of the dress. Now it was time to move on to the black fabric. I folded the fabric in half and began cutting out all of my pattern pieces. I cut out 2 front pieces and 1 back piece for the top, 2 skirt pieces and 2 sleeves. My other cat decided to join me during this step. She's got a little bit of a bigger brain and likes to be involved in the creative process. For the top, I pinned the fabric together at the shoulder and the side seams and then tried it on. Alright, so here's where we're at so far. I began sewing, and it was at this moment that I realized I had not chosen an easy fabric to work with. Beautiful as it was not going through my machine. Eventually, I got the hang of it and got back to sewing like I had a deadline, because I did. I'm going to hem the neckline by rolling the fabric over twice and hiding the raw edge using a straight stitch. I realize that black fabric is kind of hard to see on camera, so if you could just pretend that it's red or pink or something, it would really help you out a lot. I decided to go pinless for this hem because trying to get pins through this fabric is like trying to cut a frozen stick of butter with a slightly softened stick of butter. I don't recommend it. Moving on to the skirt is where things started to get complicated. I realized here that I truly did not have a plan. I started by sewing my 2 skirt pieces together, and then I realized I didn't have nearly enough skirt. I thought I could solve this problem by simply cutting another skirt panel, but for some odd reason, I thought I only needed a half panel. So enjoy this clip of me trying to figure out at which angle to cut my new skirt piece. I eventually committed to the right side and cut out my fabric and sewed the extra panel to my skirt. I tried on my dress and my mistake was all too clear.
I see a problem.
I cut out and attached yet another skirt piece. I will just have to hide the seam in the front by having that side of the dress be the bottom panel, and then the other half of the skirt will wrap over it. Now that my skirt was finally wide enough, I sewed the top and bottom of the dress together at the waist, lining up the side seams of the top and the side seams of the skirt. I used a lot of pins in this step to make sure that the side seams would line up properly, and I think I've mentioned before that this fabric hates pins. I found myself trying pin after pin on this fabric, hoping to find one that was sharp enough to go through the 2 layers. My dress fought back, and I continued stabbing it, and in the end, it was painful for both of us. The skirt ended up being just a little bit wider than the wrap top, so I cut the extra fabric from the edges and hemmed each side of the front of the dress by rolling the fabric over twice. I wanted to make the top half of the dress a little bit more fitted to highlight the girls a little bit, because some of us in the itty bitty titty committee need it. I put the dress on my dress form and pinned a dart in place from the armhole towards the front of the dress. Here is what my dart looks like. I used chalk to outline where my pins had been while it was on my dress form, and then I transferred the dart to the other side of the dress and sewed them in place. Does anyone else have this problem? My cat is always in my sewing chair, but she's so cute, I can't move her. So when you sew a dart on the front of your dress, as I've done, it changes the shape of your armhole, so I drew a new armhole and cut away the extra fabric. Moving on to the sleeves, I first sewed them together like this. Then I used a ridiculous amount of pins to attach them to the armhole. There is just something about a curved seam that I don't trust myself to go rogue and try and sew it freehand on my machine. If you have that kind of skill, I admire you, and you're probably not watching this video. I had a long conversation with my cat Lucy about whose turn it was to use the sewing chair. It was an intense dialogue. She meowed in protest and brought up some valid points. I countered. Ultimately, I think I lost the debate, but we both found ways to be productive. I sewed on the sleeves and she got some grooming done. I also realized that having a dialogue with my cat is completely normal, and I think together we're gonna sign up for the amazing race. Now, I don't know how you would define a dream team, but I think we're really getting there. I created 2 ties to wrap around my waist that were a little bit over an inch wide. I made one of them longer than the other since I needed it to wrap all the way around my waist and then tie at the front of the dress. I attached these ties to my dress on either side and backstitched them a couple of times since I didn't want any wardrobe malfunctions happening in my near future. I needed to make a slit in my dress for one of the wrap pieces to go through, so I decided the best way to do this was by making a buttonhole. I have a tutorial on my channel of how to use a buttonhole foot, so if you're making a dress like this for yourself and you want to use this method, I recommend giving that video a quick watch. So I finished the buttonhole, and at this point I got tired and gave up for the night. I figured I still had a whole week after work to hem the skirt and the sleeves, so I wasn't too worried about it. That being said, let me paint you a short picture of how my week went. I decided to go to the gym for the first time in 10 years, and I chose weight training leg day as my first workout. What was I thinking? I don't know, and I'm still asking myself that question. For the rest of the week, I struggled to walk, sit, stand. Really, any movement was impractical. I felt like I was playing quap with my own legs and continued to procrastinate on completing the final details of my dress. Time was not on my side. So it's now Friday night. I just got home from work, and this dress needs to be in my suitcase and at the airport by 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. So I think that my instinctual need to procrastinate is finally wearing off, and I can get some work done.
Why are you the way that you are?
At this point, it was a make it work moment, as Tim Gunn would say.
Make it work. Go, go, go.
And I decided to live dangerously and leave the pins in while I sewed. This isn't something I recommend, however it is something I do often, and I've broken my fair share of needles and pins, so don't do this. I sewed the bottom of the dress and hemmed both of the sleeves using the same technique, and then my dress was finally done, just in time to throw it in a suitcase and get on a plane. So this is my finished dress. I'm an awkward potato and didn't really want to film at the Christmas party. I figured I would try to make a little bit different of a first impression, so I'm just gonna go ahead and film it now. To start with, I just want to say that I love this style of dress on me. I have never made a wrap dress before, and I don't think I've ever really owned one. The floral dress that I used as a template isn't a real wrap dress. It's kind of just got a fake tie on the side that makes it look like a wrap dress. So this is the first actual wrap dress I have ever owned, and I really love how it looks on me. So I'm really looking forward to making more of these in the future. You can see here that it's got the wrap on one side. So this is kind of the overview of it, and I will go ahead and do some close-up shots too. So here's a close-up of the tie on the side of the dress. I think it's really cute. I like that I made it about an inch wide. I think it makes it work really well as both a casual dress and something that can also be dressed up for evening. Here is the buttonhole that I sewed on the side of my dress, and you can see that the wrap comes out from underneath and then wraps all the way around the back of the dress to the tie. I have the dart sewn in the side. I wish that this laid a little bit more flat. This dart on this side is fitting a little bit better, but you can see that there's still this little bit of a pucker here. So I'm not sure what to do about that, but honestly I don't really think that that's a big deal. It's not going to stop me from wearing it, and I love it. Thanks for following along with me on this sewing vlog. I know it was super last minute, but I had such a great time making this dress, and I feel like I learned a lot. like not to start something the week before you need it, and not to procrastinate. I hope that you enjoyed this video and are having a great holiday season. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and if you want to see more sewing videos from me in the future, you can subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye!